Hello, everyone. One of the interesting stories that I found today from multiple sources was a statement by the UK's Prime Minister Keir Starmer about asking Ukrainian experts for help shooting down Iranian drones in the Gulf. I mean, understandable. They've got a little bit of an experience with that. Considering, as we said yesterday, Russia had launched approximately 57,000 Shahed-type drones at Ukraine over the course of the full-scale invasion. So yeah, Ukrainian experts know what to do with them. What I find interesting is, I'm sure Ukraine is happy to help. Does it occur to you that we kind of need those experts on the ground too? They're a little bit busy just now. There's a kind of a war going on. Have you noticed that? Yeah. Again, it's a little bit appalling that now that Allied troops are being attacked using Iranian drones, that everybody's like, oh, guess who knows all about this? Aren't you forgetting something? Yeah. Speaking of which, Russia fired more missiles at Ukraine. And once again, the attacks targeted Ukrainian energy infrastructure. 288 missiles. That's a 113% increase compared to January. Also, just in the course of the month of February, shortest month of the year, Russia launched over 5,000 long-range drones. And again, most of that was launched at either the infrastructure or civilians. Zelensky is trying to backpedal a little bit from his overly enthusiastic support of the unsanctioned U.S. strikes on Iran, probably after discovering how many civilians were killed and discovering that right now there is nobody to step in for the government roles because all of those were killed too. And so he is trying to use a more careful language, saying that this should be used properly to benefit people of Iran. So this is just your basic, regular diplomatic fluff. And yes, this should be decided by people of Iran, but right now it is kind of hard for them to figure it out because, again, the strikes were so sloppy that the effect was more tragic than strategic. It is now confirmed that Belgium indeed has in its custody an oil tanker that is believed to be part of Russia's shadow fleet. Apparently, that particular vessel has been sanctioned for a long time from everywhere. US, EU, UK, but continued to illegally transport Russian oil using, as they normally do, a fake flag and a bunch of fake papers. So, one down, how many more to go? A few weeks ago, we talked about how hard it is to determine how many vessels are there actually in Russia's shadow fleet. So the estimate right now is between 600 and over 1,300 vessels. That's a bit of a range, right? So, yes, it is important even when we get just one. It is a big deal, but it is a very big project, getting rid of that shadow fleet. There are some injuries reported when drone debris fell on a house in the Russian Black Sea port of Novorossiysk. Now, Russia is claiming to have downed 172 Ukrainian drones. But here is the thing. Again, we are talking about one of the regions that Russian military has turned into basically a giant military base. And Novorossiysk is where Russia's Black Sea Fleet is hiding, or rather what is left of it, which is not much. So considering that, again, that particular city is constantly used to launch attacks at Ukraine, it becomes a valid military target. And my advice again to people of Russia living in the border regions: 1, get out. 2, if you have a problem with this and you want this to stop, raise it with your government. There has been update from Ukraine's current army commander, General Syrskyi, who says that in February, Ukraine captured more territory than it lost to Russia, contrary to the reports from Russia. Most of the territories in question are in my native Zaporizhia region. I mentioned some weeks ago that there was a lot of concern as Russian troops started moving closer and closer to the regional center, the actual city of Zaporizhia. And so at the time, there was kind of some suspicion that some operations were in the works, but understandably, Ukrainian military command kept a lid on the information coming out of there and instead chose to basically conduct things quietly. And with some success, which makes me very glad because, again, this is where I come from, Zaporizhia region. This is where I was born, where I grew up, where my parents live. So, yeah, I'm glad some of that territory has been recaptured. And of course, again, there is at least some measure of relief among Ukrainian people over having survived this absolutely insane, brutal winter. That said, Ukrainian people are not idiots. And as they watch more of these games of diplomacy, 70% of people polled said that they were skeptical about any purpose or any success. Because again, remember, we're talking about people who are being shelled every single day, who are having to, hide while out on their way to work, on the way from work, on the way to the grocery store, at the grocery store, who have to worry about seeing their children come home from school safely. And here they are asked to believe that yet another round of these talks somewhere else is going to yield something productive. Can't blame them for being skeptical. Case in point, Russian drone hit a passenger train in Dnipropetrovsk Oblast. Dnipropetrovsk region, as I mentioned before, that is our close neighbor of the Zaporizhia region. 1 person was killed, 10 people were injured, and this brings up a larger problem. So, not only is there a lot of commuter traffic between regions, in that sense, Ukraine is very much like Europe, like the rest of Europe. The commuter trains are part of the regular transportation system. But also, it tells you kind of why people don't go somewhere else. Get out of the border regions, get out of danger. First of all, they have no place to go. Second, they have no way to go because trains and roads are all being targeted, even though there's no military traffic. That's what it's like. More to come.